bleed orange and black. This is Sports Phone KNBR. Sponsored by Industrial Metal Supply on the Sports Leader. Check the live stream on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
Play would end it. It's a double play positioning up the middle. 1-0, a swing, sharp ground ball right to Adames. Gloves the hop, flips to a rise for one. Over to first, double play. There it is, and the game is over. The Giants make it 2 in a row on this road trip. They score a season-high 10 runs tonight. They hit 3 homers, and they beat the Washington Nationals 10-5.
Welcome into a Sports Phone KNBR Friday night with Bill Lasky. A lot of good baseball to talk tonight as the Giants have a 2-game win streak. And, you know, you always wonder how a team gets fired up. Well, yesterday in that Cincinnati Red game, you had a fired-up Giants team. They were ready to brawl. Eric Miller wanted everybody on that Reds team. He was calling everybody out. And you know what? It just got right on that plane. Everybody was fired up. They got into Washington, had plenty of time to have a nice night. And today the lumber came out, and it came out in force. 10 runs, 15 hits. The Giants put on the board today with 3 home runs. And you start dissecting what happened, what's different. Well, you and I both are expecting this. I've been expecting this all season. And you start looking at just basic numbers. 19 games before the game started today, the Giants only had 9 home runs. The lowest in Major League Baseball. They hit 3 today. A third of the home runs in 19 games started with 3 today. Hits. They had 151 hits going in 19 games. They had 15 today. 15. Runs, they had 58 runs. One of the lowest run production teams in Major League Baseball. They put 10 on the board. So you see where I'm going with all this? This is what we expected, Giants. This is what we expected out of this 26-man roster. The pitching was fantastic today. Logan Webb had some ands and ifs and ors, but he got through it. The bullpen, Gage, Killian, and Tidwell did a nice job. But it all goes right to the offense, and it all started in the second inning when they played at 10 players in the second inning, 10 of them, with a bomb by Elliot Ramos. And you saw the pressure come off of Elliot Ramos rounding the bases, pounding his chest like Tarzan. And you know right then and there, that smile from ear to ear is exactly what Giants fans wanted to see. I've been waiting for it. I know you've been waiting for it, and we finally saw it. He was on a post-game show on NBC Bay Area, and he says, I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting to perform like this. And guess what? Hopefully that opens it up. Hopefully he stops swinging balls out of the zone and swinging in more balls into strikes. And I think that's the key here. Every hitter in this lineup, 1 through 9, got a hit today. When's the last time we've seen that? We haven't. The last time the Giants scored 9 runs, it's been a while, March 31st. Think about that. March 31st against the San Diego Padres, they scored 9 runs. Today, the highest run scoring of the season, 10 runs. And they did it with 6 in the second. They added on with 2 more in the fourth. They added 1 in the seventh. And then put some pressure on the Nationals in the 9th. That's the offense you got to produce. That's the offense we've been waiting for. 415-808-KNBR. I want to hear what you're thinking about tonight as I'm talking about offense, and we've talked a lot about offense today. When you look at the top 3 hitters, Willie Adames, Luis Ariz, and Matt Chapman, when have we ever talked about these 3 guys going 7 for 15, 3 RBIs? We haven't. Those top 3 hitters right now need to do this daily. And then you get Casey Schmidt, who's getting hot. He didn't really hit that well in Cincinnati. He was only 1 for 10. But overall, 15 for 48 on the season for him. And he's filling in a DH hole. And what he did today, 2 for 5 with a home run and a changeup in that 7th inning, kept his hands in. knocked it right out of the yard, was even peeking over his bat to see if it was fair. That's what we need. That's what this Giants team needs. It doesn't have to be your superstars. It can be other players. And where does this fit in? Drew Gilbert, one of the young players, didn't make the team out of spring training, a good, solid left-hand hitter, and he hits a home run in the fourth inning, a 3-1 fastball, right down the chute, and he didn't miss it. First home run. But this is what we want to see. We want to see other players in this lineup get hot or even contribute. Every hitter, 1 through 9. We've been talking about Daniel Susac. We've been talking about Patrick Bailey. Patrick Bailey, 6 for 47 on the season. 6 for 47. Daniel Susac's 9 for 16. Big change right there. Big change in the offensive side. I'm done seeing the rollovers. I'm done seeing the weak pop-ups. Daniel Susac had great at-bats today. Of last one, he hit a ground ball to first. It's okay. He had a nice double in the 5th inning. Got a nice base hit in the 2nd inning. This is what we want to see. We want to see some productivity out of the catching position. I thought he caught well. There was times Logan and Webb didn't get on the right page. We know that. That's going to happen. He's a rookie. He's got to understand what pitches he wants in different sequences. But overall, Daniel Susac coming up, doing his job, 24 years old. This is what we want to see. Maybe it fires up Patrick Bailey a little bit more. Yesterday in the post-game show, they said, hey, Patrick, you know you're going to divide up time with Daniel Susac? And he was so honest. He said they should. I'm not having any productivity out of the bat. I'm not hitting the ball like I should, and maybe it sparks the offense. Well, it did today. It has every time he's been in there. So let's see him in a little bit more. And they'll flip-flop. It's no problem. I'm glad they're flip-flopping. We're going to see Daniel Susac a little bit more than once every week. And when you got a hot hand, you got to play it. Tony Vitello's been like that. We're going to see Drew Gilbert out there a little bit more. I really believe it. Plays a good center field. He can play the corners. Jung-Hoo Lee just sparked himself in that Cincinnati series. 6 for 11. 6 for 11. That's what we want to see with Jung-Hoo Lee. And he had a nice base hit today, first at bat. He went 1 for 4. But we want to see this. We want to just see a little bit more of relaxation in this batting order and making everybody do their job. We haven't seen that this year. They're 8-12, 20 games. We're tired of seeing excuses. We're tired of hearing, oh, we should have got a hit. Oh, we should. No, it's time to produce. And right now they have an opportunity to go into Washington with the next 2 starting pitchers that have done nothing for the Nationals and continue this barrage. And it would be nice to come home off this road trip 5-4. They're 3-4 right now in a 9-game road trip. They could finish with a 4-game win streak with a day off and the Dodgers coming to town. Love to see it. Love to see 15 hits every game. Love to see 10 runs. I'm sure you did too. But you start thinking about how this can't happen every day. It can. But it's got to be different approaches. It's got to be adjustments. And you got to live for the next guy to pick you up if you make it out. Back in the day, 10, 12, and 14, Bruce Bochy said it all the time. Keep the line running. Keep the line moving. Keep the next guy hitting. Keep the next guy on edge. Pick the next guy up. That's what we saw tonight. In that 2nd inning, that was awesome. It was just one of those innings we don't see that often. 10 batters played it. 10. They went around the whole order. It started with a base hit by Schmidt, base hit by Jung-Hoo Lee, and a 1-2 split by Zach Littell got up, and Elliot Ramos didn't miss it. He center cutted that ball 416 feet to center field, and he knew it. That thing was a blast. That ball was up and out. Over 110 miles an hour off his bat? Come on. He's built like Hulk. I don't know if you've ever seen this guy. He is so upper body strong, and that's all he has to do is just make contact. But we see him trying too much, over-aggressiveness out of these at-bats. And I think that's what we've been seeing for the first 19 games up till today. Trying to do too much. trying to do more than what you're expected. And today we saw a different approach. We saw some different at-bats. And I've been saying this for the first 19 games. Go the opposite way. Watch the ball in the zone a little bit more. And then go the opposite way. That's the easiest way to hit. That's how I got wore out in the big leagues. Guys stayed back, and they went the opposite way. You can't pitch that way. You can't pitch against it. If you're going away to a lefty, he goes to left field. That's how they're supposed to hit. If they try to pull it, it's a ground ball to second base. So a lot of things went well today. A lot of things made people smile. And now this team's relaxed it a little bit. Coming right back tomorrow, going after it. Early runs, add on more. Next thing you know, you had 10 runs. So we'll talk about this. We've got a couple hours to talk about this. I got a great little show. Dave Tolner from the SF Gate's going to join me in a little bit. We want to get some phone calls going. 415-808-KNBR. I want to know what you think. I really want to know what you see today that we haven't seen in the last 19 games. A lot of things I threw out there. Love to hear your thoughts. We'll take a quick break, come back with more. 415-808-KNBR. Let's get some calls coming in. Let's talk some Giants baseball on a Friday night. I'm Bill Lasky. This is KNBR, the sports leader.
Giants fans, this is your hub to have your voice heard. Sports Phone KNBR. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
Here it is. Ramos swings, hits a high fly ball, deep center field. Weimer on the run, going back. He's at the track. He leaps. It is gone. Elliot Ramos to straightaway center field here at Nationals Park. His first home run of the year is a 3-run blast. And it's 3-0 Giants here in the second.
Back on KNBR, and that was the home run by Elliot Ramos in the second inning that sparked the 3 runs, and Giants ended up getting 6 runs in the second inning. And it sparked that team. You saw a lot of relaxed faces. You saw a lot of energy coming out of that dugout, and that's what this team needs, to relax, quit stressing, put more pressure on themselves. And Elliot Ramos was that perfect person that was doing it. You look at some numbers on Ramos, 1 for 7 in Cincinnati, 4 for 11 in Baltimore. Those numbers aren't Elliot Ramos. And then you look even further, he's 15 for 70. That's not a good batting average. It's over 200, and I think that's one key here, that he needs to relax, get some power numbers, get some base hits, drive some runs in. And that's what the Giants need out of Elliot Ramos. And you know what? It's a point of the season that you could change the outfield. The outfield of Ramos, Harrison Bader, and Jung-Hoo Lee, it was a disaster. It really was. All 3 of them were not hitting well. Their defense was shady. Now some changes have been made, and maybe this sparks it a little bit. And the one player I really want to talk about before we get to the calls, Willy Adames, quietly just hitting the ball extremely well. You look at this road trip, he was 2 for 4 today. He's 6 for 23 on this road trip. And the numbers are even there when you start looking at extra bases. 10 doubles, 3 home runs. This guy was not hitting the ball early in the year. Everybody was down on him. Once he got to the leadoff spot and he started dialing in, going the opposite way, pulling the ball, not swinging out of the zone, he's producing. And those are the things this team needs. 10 doubles and 3 home runs. I tip my hat to Willie Adames. All right, let's go to Mike. He's in Orinda. Mike, you're on a Friday night KNBR show with Bill Lasky. How are you?
Hey, Bill. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. Super happy to have
appreciate the call.
Baseball season back, and it's a treat to hear you talk Giants baseball. Looking forward to a fun season of more of it.
Yeah, thanks.
I thought I've called in once before, and we had after a Logan Webb win against the Dodgers, and we had a good conversation about the Giants trying to establish a certain brand of baseball. So I thought today was a good time to call in after that game, because I think the Giants kind of showed what their lineup was supposed to be when they built it on paper. I think they showed what it could do today, and there have been flashes of it through this first month, and they were always going to be a whirlwind. And it's really predicated on those top 4 guys just establishing their own consistency, how just playing to their averages, Willie Adames, Arise, Chapman, and Devers. And once those 4 guys are established and doing what we know they do consistently, and you have people like Ramos, Schmidt, Jung-Hoo Lee, and even a Harrison Bader behind that, when those 4 guys are doing what they do consistently, that's where the lineup gets scary, when you have people like that coming up behind them. It's just a matter of the leaders getting established consistently, and in general, the whole team establishing some chemistry. And I definitely understand that, like, it's been the first month, they're out of grace for, quote-unquote, trying to figure it out. And I think they know that, and we're present.
Let me just stop you right there. Let's talk about those top 4 hitters. And I brought it up on my open. When was the last time, and it has never happened, and I'll tell you that right now, when is the only time but today when you heard your top 3 hitters, Adames, Arise, and Chapman, go 7 for 15? It hasn't happened.
Yeah.
It has not happened this year. And you hit it right on the top of the nail. Those 3 guys are your veteran leaders. Those 3 guys have to establish that. And then everybody falls into the category of adding on. You said it, I said it, the add-ons. If Schmidt hits like he can, Jung-Hoo Lee, now you got Drew Gilbert. If Daniel Susak plays a little bit more, those are add-ons. But you said it, the top 4 hitters. We have not seen Rafael Devers come out of this yet. We will. This guy's too good, and everybody's down on him. He's a proven hitter. But once he sees what's going on in front of him, he might relax a little bit more. He got a nice hit today, but he also struck out 3 times. That's what I'm hoping that we can change, watching him relax a little bit more. Put the ball in play. He's got the power to hit it out. But you nailed it. The top 3 hitters are the 3 hitters that need to establish this offense.
Yeah, totally. And I think Devers will be the last one of those 4 to come along, which is fine. We know he can do it, and he will. And so, yeah, I think you saw today, and there was a game against the Mets and a couple other times where you saw a big inning where, like, dang, the lineup looks scary when those 4 are doing what they do, and then you have guys like that coming behind them that you can't sleep on. And the other point I wanted to get to was the catcher situation. I really don't see it as a situation. It's a great problem to have if you just really simply kind of change your mindset. You have 2 great catchers. One excels at defense, one excels at offense. The Giants as a team right now need to establish offense and consistent offense. So go ahead and play Susak normally. It's not like Bailey's a backup now all of a sudden. It's a good problem to have. You have a gold glove catcher with that defense that won't leave, and he'll be ready to go. So it's just a matter of what you need
not
at
a bad
the moment.
defender here either, Mike. Susak can catch, and he's got a good arm. It's establishing the starters, establishing that communication that Bailey has with the starting staff. Now, Susak caught Robbie Ray. You might see him not play tomorrow. He may play Sunday. You might see Bailey in it tomorrow. But, again, it's fine switching them up. I have no issues with that because you're giving Susak some abilities to hit. And you said it. You take offense over defense. When you have Bailey in, you take defense over offense. It's a nice mixture. It's a nice problem to have, but I understand how Tony Vitello is saying he's still young, he's still a rookie, he has to be guided during the game. We saw Logan Webb shake off a few times. So what? So what? Tell me what I'm doing right. Tell me what I'm doing. I know that's what Daniel Susak's saying in that dugout. What do you want to see more? That's where communication starts with your catcher. And I think that's only in time that's going to get better.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's why Susak was out there particularly today. I wasn't really expecting him to be in the lineup, and when he was, I was like, oh, it's because he hasn't caught for Webb yet. They need to get that done.
And his last start, if you remember, one last thing, Mike. The last start, that's when Susak got a couple hits the night before and Bailey was in, and that's why when Logan Webb, I want Bailey to catch. And you're not going to tell your ace, hey, we're going to give you Susak. No. This is what we want. This is what you're comfortable with, and that's why they did it. Now, I think that's over. I think now it's going to be Susak. You're going to catch any of the top 5 starters and know what's in the bullpen. That's what has to happen. That's how you graduate young players.
Yeah, and I think it'll end up being a really good situation to have both of those two work off each other. The last thing I wanted to say real quick was just about Jung-Hoo Lee and kind of the outfield in general. I will never criticize Jung-Hoo Lee until he's at least halfway through that contract, because I will not forget that he's a 20-something-year-old kid who grew up in Korea and Japan. A flight from San Francisco to Colorado is probably farther than he's flown in his entire life. It's going to take him a couple seasons just to get used to America, used to get used to American baseball, American travel,
just getting
all
used
of that.
to the whole
and he's
thing.
shown plenty of, he's just not the whole thing in just baseball, just life here and doing this regularly. And I'll give him at least
Mike,
halfway through this contract.
I know Jung-Hoo. Yeah, Mike, let me just throw something. I've talked to Jung-Hoo. I've talked to his interpreter several times. And it's not that. It's just getting him accustomed to pitching in the big leagues. Pitching in Korea is totally different than pitching in the big leagues. And I think that's what he is not accustomed to. You got to give him some more at-bats, give him a little more time. I want his approach to go to left field first time. We've seen a change. You saw it doing in Cincinnati. He got one hit today to right field. But it's not about the ability to live in the United States. It's about the ability to prove himself at the big league level. That's the big thing, Mike, he's got to overcome. But thanks for the call, man. Another great conversation with you. Let's go to San Leandro and talk to Mick. Mick, you're on a late night sports phone with Bill Lasky on a Friday. How are you?
Good, Bill. Glad to hear from you. And what a great game to watch today. I want to compliment Tony Vitello for the lineup setup he has, because what I see here is that the first 4 hitters, Adames, Arise, Chapman, and Devers, that's a contending lineup there, and they're all starting to fit in. Adames is fitting into that leadoff spot really well, just about in every way, and it's kind of a surprise.
And you heard my numbers, Mick. Mick, you heard my numbers. Yeah. He's hitting 275. He's getting the ball in play. He's taking more pitches. I don't know about stealing bags yet. He doesn't have extra speed we're looking at, but at least he's getting on bag. He's getting on the base, and I'm going to continue to say it. We have not heard Adames, Arise, Chapman go 7 for 15 in any game this year, and I think that is the quotations about this game today.
Well, today they started off the inning, and it was Rice got a hit, but it was otherwise 3 up, 3 down. It was the fourth hitter, who I call a second leadoff. Schmidt come up, he's hitting the ball. He led off with a single, and then those guys, Schmidt, Lee, Ramos, Susak, and Gilbert got the ball rolling. They put a 6th spot in the second inning, and that's why I like the lineup, because Adames he's in a great spot. Arise is contact, he can run. Chapman's got power to drive anybody around. And Devers, when he gets his foot down on time, he is still late because he's got too many things going on. He needs to load earlier and get that foot down, and all of a sudden he's going to light up. But Schmidt had a home run today, and he's feeling more comfortable.
On a changeup.
On
a changeup, Mick. How about that on a changeup? From a lefty, he watched it, and he just got his hands out and hit that ball, just got under it and hit it out to left field. You saw him peeking to see if it was going to go out. The ball that Elliot Ramos hit, the 1-2 split, was up, and, man, he had barreled the ball, man. That's one of the hardest balls he's hit this year, and I keep going to the post-game show, he was happy. He had a smile on his face, and he said the pressure was getting to him, and you could tell. You could tell him going up at bats, swinging out of the zone, overachieving, And those are little things, Mick, you and I have talked about hitting for a few weeks now. Those are the things you make adjustments to that you think about going home and now I got to do it again tomorrow. And if you can do it tomorrow, it's going to be the next day. And that's how you get a nice hitting streak going.
Yeah, Casey Schmidt is making adjustments too. He's getting his hands pulled in on the inside pitches, and he can barrel it up as well. And I think he's real happy with that. But as a pitcher, you were a pitcher. You know, if you're facing Adames, Arise, Chapman, and Devers, you've got prototypical people performing in those positions. But then when you get to the fifth spot, which is fifth spot, and that was the second inning, Schmidt opens up with a hit, and you got Lee behind him who's contact. He's getting his foot down because he's not lifting it as high, and he's taking a short, and he's starting to hit the ball hard. And Ramos. And
he's starting to hit the ball to left field, Mick. We've been talking about him going to left field so many times. He did it in Cincinnati. Yes. He pulled today, but he's finally starting to do it. You know, he hit a ground ball to short. He pulled a couple balls to first, but he's making contact, and he's not swinging at that elevated fastball either.
Exactly. And then, of course, so Schmidt's like a second leadoff right in the fifth spot, and Lee, he's got speed, and he can make contact. And Ramos is coming around. He's getting locked in.
And this is the team we're looking for, Mick. This is what we've been waiting to see on the offensive side. We've been waiting to see this, and now I'm going to look at the next two pitchers for the Nationals. Both of them have been giving up the long ball, and both of them and walking the ballpark. So they have to really jump on the first pitch tomorrow, and if they get behind, take a few more pitches. This is why I want to see that walk percentage go up. They haven't walked many. They only walked 75 times so far. That has to come up a little bit more. But when I throw the numbers out there like I was throwing, first 19 games, only 9 home runs. They get 3 today. And let's hope this home run barrage keeps going, Mick. But listen, I'll be on all weekend, Mick. We'll talk more hitting then. Thanks for the call. Let's go to John in South City. John, good game tonight. Giants have won 2 in a row.
Hey, Bill, how's it going tonight?
Well, it's always great to see the offense of what I've been waiting for, as well as every Giants fan. I was expecting this out of spring training. I'm sure you did too, John, and most Giants fans. And today we finally saw a barrage of hits that continued and a couple home run balls to add on.
You're absolutely right, Bill. I mean, the bats came up big. You know, you mentioned about Helios Ramos finally getting the what do you call it, the funk. What's a good word to say? The funk out of the back, or the monkey off the back, I guess you call it.
Yeah.
He needed that. And another thing, Bill, I want to bring up is Drew Gilbert. Man, I mean,
spark plug.
It was great to have his energy back on the team, because that's what they were missing, Bill, is his energy.
Well, I think he would have made this club, John, but he got hurt. You remember in spring training, hurt his shoulder. He was out almost 10. He was almost out 2 weeks. And to make this club, you could not bring a guy up that's just literally rehabbing, because he got hurt in the middle of spring. He went to AAA, played every day, and started hitting. He was hitting over 300 there. That's what they were expecting. He was expected to make that club, because if you remember this, John, they didn't have a left-handed pinch hitter off the bench when they started the season.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on that one, Bill. And there's another thing is, and I don't want to say this, it's really early to ask, when do we see Bryce Eldridge coming up? Is it too early to tell right now?
No, you're not going to see him. No, I'll stop it right now. Everybody kind of wants that, but I just don't see it happening. I think the moves, what they made, were solid moves. A couple injuries. And I think they sorted up the outfield a little bit with Brennan and Gilbert. I just wanted my biggest question that I would have asked in postgame today is, who else can play first base? Are you going to put Casey Schmidt back out there? Because Rafael Devers is starting to scare me at first base a little bit. Today, 2 plays that I thought both of them he should have caught, and he didn't. And that cost Logan Webb an earned run. And it cost them almost 12 to 14 more pitches. So those mistakes at the big league level, they have to be cleaned up.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I kind of get a little worried now for Devers at first base. You know, you got to catch the ball at first. And as a first baseman, you can't drop it. You know, and I believe they charged him the air, if I'm saying correctly today. I saw.
No, they gave him the fielder's choice because you can't assume a double play, so they gave it a fielder's choice, which makes that earned run. As a pitcher, that's where you get frustrated. You get frustrated on that side.
And I give kudos to Logan Webb, who pitched perfect today. He was on straight. His command was there. And then tomorrow's game, here are my key to the game. Just score more runs against these Washington pitchers tomorrow. And Hauser, I hope he has a good outing. I know last outing against Baltimore wasn't that great.
It wasn't that bad. I was just talking to my producer about it. He gave up 2-run homer in the first inning, and he got through 4 innings fine. The 5th inning, he got 2 guys out, and then it was base hit, double, and he got chased. Some good games. I think they haven't been great games, but they've been above average.
Right.
Tomorrow, he's just got to keep the ball in the ballpark, especially at National Ballpark. I mean, the ballpark plays home runs. And you saw what the Nationals did today, throwing all the lefties out there against Logan Webb. You might see that again tomorrow. And this national team, they're young, very young. I got a writer coming up later in the show, Mark Zuckerman, and he's going to be talking about him and breaking down the youth of this team. It's very interesting when I bring on these reporters to kind of give you the insight of the opposing team that you don't know much of because we don't watch them that much. But this team is young, and they got a lot of prospects.
Yeah, they do have a good, farm system as well too, Bill. And Bill, I want to bring something up yesterday. After that game against the
Reds,
Cincinnati, when Don was getting plucked, do you think that was intentional or was that on purpose yesterday?
Well, as an ex-pitcher, I'm going to answer it. That was done properly to hit him in the leg, to hit Adames in the leg. That was a meaningful pitch. And those things happen in a game. They happen more in my era when one of your hitters get hit and you plunk the first hitter. Those things change in the game of baseball, how they are now. But yesterday that was done, I'd say, professionally on both sides. What happened the night before with J.T. Brubaker was part of it, and it came into that game. And at the end of the game, Eric Miller said, hey, I'm not taking it, I punched you out, started talking, and then, of course, it all got bent out of shape. But you know what? Sometimes like that, you start that fire. You get that team fired up, and you start, picking each other up. And I saw that a little bit yesterday. I like that little temperament. I love those guys going out there wanting to brawl. It might have changed but I guarantee when they got on that plane, John, they were talking about it. They were definitely talking about it, and if they brought that into Washington, hooray. Yep.
Hey, Bill, I got to ask you a funny question here. Should MLB have a post-game handshake or
No, that'll never happen. That'll never happen.
I don't think
It'll never happen.
It's like it might be a grudge, and
it's in college. They do it in college. They do it in high school. It'll never happen in the big leagues. John, thanks again for the call. I appreciate a lot of baseball talk with you. Appreciate it. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Come back. Got a lot of phone calls on hold. Got a great show lined up as we continue on Sports Phone KNBR with Bill Lasky.
Giants fans, this is your hub to have your voice heard. Sports Phone KNBR. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
Gilbert in another good count, swings at the 3-1, hits a high deep drive right field, well struck. Wood is back, looking up, it is gone! Welcome back to the Giants. Drew Gilbert, his first big league hit of the season is a home run. It's 7-1.
That's a great at-bat. Get into a 3-1 count, sit on a heater, and drive it out of the yard.
Back on KNBR, Drew Gilbert hitting his first hit. He was 0 for 4 coming into today's game. Got a walk in the second inning and hit the 3-1 fastball. Just like FP said, he waited, saw it, and he connected. And that ball was hit pretty good. That was 390 feet out to right field. What was nice right after that was Willie Adames comes right up after him, hits a double. And then a ground ball by Luis Ariz, and he gets him over to third base. You just don't talk about those things enough. Getting a guy over. And what happens? Matt Chapman, first pitch he hits, base hit left field. They score another run. That's what has to happen, folks. That's good baseball. That's good hitting. And hopefully this continues, because today we saw what we wanted to see. All right, we'll talk more about this because I know my callers all fired up. Let's talk to Safe at third from San Francisco. How are you, my friend?
Bill, my friend, how are you today? I'm
good. Good baseball today, buddy. Good baseball. Good offense. Just like I said, guy on second, get him over to third, drive him in. That's good baseball.
How long we been waiting for this? You know, how long have we been talking? You and me, Bill, we've been talking about it for years. Finally, and I like this lineup. Tony V has been he's done what a lot of the other managers didn't do. He started working with the lineup immediately, trying to put together a pattern. I like what I saw today. This is the first time, Bill, I felt easy looking at the game with this lineup. I didn't get all tensed up. So I hope he keeps this lineup. And I know there's going to be, a catcher change here, and I understand that. But I hope he keeps this lineup because it was really nice to see. I felt easy about this. And let me tell you.
Well, safe at third. I think what made it easy for you, safe at third, different people contributed. And I'm continuing to throw the top three hitters up. 7 for 15, 1, 2, 3 in your top of your order. We haven't seen that yet. We saw it tonight. And it made so many things fall into place after that.
Two things I want to say before I leave you. You know how long I've talked about Luis Arias. He was on these other teams. I still don't know till this day how a two-time batting champion, 300 hitter last year, has been sailing all over the globe on so many teams.
I know.
What is going on?
And he's only 29 years old. That's the other thing. He's not like 37. He's 29.
And I want the Giants to keep him, be serious because he's patient. And I think if the other Giants are looking at this man and how he plays, he's so patient and picking his pitches. Lastly, I applaud the thing with the Cincinnati Reds, the going at it, the little fisticuffs, slight fisticuffs, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I applaud that.
Get heated.
Because that brings on identity. That brings on identity.
And it brings your teammates to protect each other. It brings your teammates to say, you just hit my guy, we're not digging that. And I think that's what I loved about Eric Miller. I don't know if you ever saw Eric Miller person to person. He's a big dude. He's just a real big dude. And when he got all fired up, I'm like, oh, boy, this is going to get big. And I'm glad they didn't get into fisticuffs. But you know what it brought? You brought it. It brought the spirit. You brought the energy. And I've said it earlier. They got on that plane last night. They were still fired up, no question.
Miller, he's a cheerleader. I was watching him tonight, cheering in the dugout there. That's what you need. You need those type of people to bring forth. So let's hope they keep this lineup. Bill, with that, I'm going to leave you. You have a great rest of your show.
Thanks, buddy. I'll talk to you over the weekend if you're around. Let's go to Joshua in Sacramento. Sacramento Strong, how are you?
Hello, Bill.
Yes, sir.
This is Joshua in Sacramento. I was Joshua in Orlando last year. I just moved back to California, so I'm
nice.
Back.
Well, great to be back in Northern California. You're hitting some nice weather right now.
Yeah. Yeah. What I wanted to iterate was the guy from 2 years ago came in 2024 is Matt Chapman. He's been the leader of the team ever since then. And I think what they needed was to get that ignition started. And Matt Chapman hit it on 3-hole today, 3 hits and 3 RBIs, shows everybody else in that lineup what needs to be done. And put 10 runs on the board is huge, especially when they go into the next homestand, that they know they could continue that kind of hitting. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I've said this from the very start with him making contact instead of trying to swing at balls and trying to hit them out of the ballpark. He did that today and getting 3 hits, nice base hits. That's all you need to do. And what I liked about him in the 9th inning, after Arise got that base hit, there was a hole on the right side. He hit that ball to right field. Beautiful hit. Open area, hit a nice base hit, goes first and third. That's baseball. And I'm going to continue to reiterate this. The top 3 hitters make everybody better. The top 3 hitters in this lineup, Adames, Arise, and Chapman, did their thing today. Get Devers to put a little more, ball to bat or bat to ball. That 4th hitter is going to be driving these guys in because they're getting on base, and I think that's what he's going to do. He's going to make some adjustments. Rafael Devers is too good of a hitter to be sitting here and looking at 215 batting average with only 2 home runs. He's going to come out of it, and he's the type of guy to carry the team.
Rafael Devers, you got him for 162 games. What he did with 20 home runs when he came in July
last year,
that can only show what he could do in 2026. I expect 35 home runs because that's what he hit last year, and he's that kind of guy who could put some real numbers up there. And what I got to say is I want your opinion on Robbie Ray. Do you see him coming from last year of how well he did coming in 2026, just continuing what he did last year into the new year?
I think so. I think what happened last year, and last year, if you remember, that was his first full year after Tommy John. Of course, the year prior, he maybe made 10 or 12 starts, and he was just starting to get the feel of the ball, how the ball comes out of your hand, how the twist and turns. Last year, he kind of ran out of gas in September. He got to that 160, 170 inning, and you could see him frailing a little bit. This year so far, when you're looking, he's got 22 and a third innings in. He's only given up 6 earned runs, got a nice earned run average under a 2.5. He's getting 5, 6, 7 innings in. I think right now that's where you want to establish him. Throwing a lot of pitches. His last game, I loved it because he was not throwing too many changeups. Last game, he threw 26 changeups against the Reds. He was going fastball slider in mostly every start until his last start. And that's the pitch I'm wanting him to see throw more. Because if he can do that, that takes a lot of pressure off your arm.
I really appreciate you as a former pitcher, what you had to say about Robbie Ray. And if any of these guys go down, I'm looking at Kyle Harrison to be brought up. I think he is a good guy, what he did on his short stint with the team last year. And if he's doing something down there in the minors, I think Buster will bring him up. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, you also got Carson Seymour down there. Carson Seymour's another good right-hander. They have some excellent starters in AAA that could bounce up if there is an injury or any type thing. You also have Blake Tidwell, who now is in the bullpen. Is kind of a starter, middle guy, short guy. I think they got enough, but I want to see Hauser and Maley start pitching a little bit more. Better, consistent numbers. They've been kind of like on a roller coaster. A good game, bad game, good game, bad game. That, if you can extend it to 5 or 6 innings with both those guys, would help this pitching rotation. But Joshua, thanks, man. I'm so glad you're back in the Bay Area. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, got a couple more calls, and then we're going to talk to my buddy, Dave Tolner from SF Gates. So we'll be right back. Callers, stay right there. We'll call right back. This is Bill Lasky on the Sports Phone KNBR show.
Giants fans, this is your hub to have your voice heard. Sports Phone KNBR. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
The 2-2 pitch. There's a swing and a drive hit out to deep left into the corner. Way back. It is gone. Casey Schmidt launches one down the left field line. His second home run of this road trip. His second of the year. And the Giants now have a 9-4 lead.
There's the add-on you're looking for.
I'm back on KNBR on a Friday night. Casey Schmidt getting hot again. He was 7 for 13 in that Baltimore series. Then he kind of cooled off in Cincinnati, only going 1 for 10. And today, 2 for 5. A beautiful changeup he hit out to left field. That happened in the 7th inning to add another run on. And the Giants prevailed as they win this game 10-5. Tomorrow, 1:05 first game going on. Adrian Hauser on the hill. Of course, Adrian Hauser's pitched okay, not bad. 0-2 with a 5-point earned run average. His last game in Baltimore went 4 2/3, 5 hits he gave up, 4 earned runs. He gave up a 2-run home run in the first inning. He's going up against Cade Cavalli, a 27-year-old first-round draft pick by the Nationals. He's had some problems, and he's walked a lot of guys in only 15 2/3 innings. He's walked 12 hitters already, struck out 13. And this is a time, man, he gives up a lot of hits and he gives up a lot of runs. And this is somebody that they could really pick on. He was their number one guy. He started the season as their number one starter. He has struggled in his last few games. So we'll find out if the Giants can prevail tomorrow and get some early runs off of Cavalli. Let's go up to Portland and talk to my buddy Greg. Greg, you're on a Friday night. How are you up in Portland?
Well, I'm good, Bill. It was a good game to watch, of course. Well, we like to be validated, so I'm calling to validate your observations about Susak and Gilbert. Mm-hmm. That's the main reason I wanted to give you a ring tonight. I'll start with Gilbert. I liked Gilbert from the very beginning last year, and so it was good to see him tag one tonight. And
I said it earlier, Greg. I think
he would.
I think he was going to make this team out of spring training till he hurt his arm.
I agree with you. He got hurt.
Yeah, he sidelined it, and that was his throwing hand, shoulder. So it kind of pushed him back a couple weeks. I just didn't think they were going to bring him on that opening day roster, and I think they did it right by going to Sacramento, getting a couple weeks in, playing every day, and that was kind of his extended spring training. Now, if he keeps doing what he's doing, he's not going anywhere.
No, I agree with you. He's on the roster. He's a good one. And then Susak,
he's a Tennessee boy.
Yeah. Now he played for Tony V.
He
right?
Did. He sure did.
Okay. Now Susak, we've talked about him. I like him. You like him. And I think that in view of Bailey's hitting getting worse in just the last week, we talked about him. I might back off what I said originally and start to give Susak more time, because the guy clearly can catch. He'll only get better, and Bailey's hitting. And again, you know me. I said it days ago. I want a guy to catch.
Well, we talked about it last year, Greg.
I'm not worried about your hitting, but Bailey's hitting is so bad, and I don't think it's going to get
real
better.
quick on this road trip, Greg. Real quick. 1 for 7 in Baltimore and 0 for 6 in Cincinnati. That's not helping you. And Susak 1 for 4 in Baltimore, 2 for 5 in Cincinnati. So he goes 3 for 9, and Bailey goes 1 for 13. So why wouldn't you give the young kid an opportunity? And what does he do today? He goes 2 for 5. So those are numbers that are preceding him playing more. And you heard it from Vitello. You heard it from other people. He needs to play, not every day, but get some games in.
And who's to say that in 2 years he's not as good as Bailey? Because the guy looks to me like he's got chops.
He's comfortable.
As they say. And he's only going to get. Yeah, and Bailey. I'm sorry. I don't care how good you are behind the plate. I mean, your hitting is getting to the level of. I'm even saying it's atrocious. And
Greg, do you remember when you and I talked about? Greg, I'm going to throw this out and see if you remember this. I know I talked to you about this. The ABS. And I believe I said when ABS comes into the 2026 season, Patrick Bailey's not going to be able to squeeze those balls off the corner because the ABS is going to stop it unless the other team uses 2 of them. And I think that's the issue that you're looking at for a Gold Glove catcher. He usually snagged those balls for strikes. Now you can test them, but you only get 2 tests. He's still a good defensive catcher. The guys weren't holding on runners. He was like 1 for 13 the first couple of weeks with stealing bags. I still think Susak's got a good enough arm, too, behind the plate.
Well, we don't know, but he sure looks like he's got potential, and give him the chance. And we talked about this. You're right. I remember, because I'm a traditionalist, and I don't like any of this stuff. But, it's 2026.
Well, he got strikes for the pitchers, and that's what was good about him.
But see,
now,
I like all that
he's
stuff.
still framing. He's still framing fine. The release on the balls are kind of tailing a little bit worse than they were last year. His accuracy isn't that sharp. I think what's happening here is he's worried about his hitting so much, it might be affecting his catching. Calling a game for these pitchers, he'll always do a good job. Yeah.
Well, he ought to listen to what you said at least 2 weeks ago. I agree. Is quit being a switch hitter.
Yeah, I know.
And
I tell you what's funny about it. I think you and I talked about it, or I was talking about it on that show, and John Shea wrote a nice article about Patrick Bailey possibly just being a left-hand hitter, and he talked to JT Snow, and I even brought that up on the show. And I'm like, oh, John Shea must be listening to me because he wrote exactly what we were talking about him just being a left-hand hitter.
I missed that. Well, there you are. Validated again, Bill.
All good.
Okay, well, look, I'll let you go. Let's
appreciate it.
Hope for the
Talk
best.
to you this weekend. I'm on all weekend if you want to give me a call. I'm on all weekend, so we can continue to talk. Let's go up to Bend, Oregon, and talk to Steve. Steve, you're on a late night sports phone with me?
Bend, Oregon. Oregon coming in strong, Bill, right?
I guess, Steve, I always talk to you, and I know you always come in with something good for me.
Am I the last caller before you go on to your guest?
You are my last caller tonight, so give me some good stuff.
Pressure's on. All right, first of all, Garrett Anderson, R.I.P.
Oh, what a sad story.
You know, that 02 World Series, he had that single before Troy Gloss ended it with that double. Remember that?
Yeah, good point.
He got on base, in Game 5. Boy, that was something else. All right, here I come. Devers. Now, the reason he is on the team is because Boston did not want to acquiesce and have him play first, right? He was adamant about that, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so is the nightmare coming true?
When you think about it, you know, Devers was always a good third baseman. And now he's playing first, but Arise is the guy that I think is doing fantastic at second base.
The way he's moving to the right, man, he's legitimate. Is he listening to Washington and Devers is not? I mean, Bill, it's not a matter of footwork at first base. It's not a matter of choosing when to go to first on a ground ball. It's not catching the ball. That double play drop Devers had, that cost Webb, another 16, 17 pitches. So
an earned run.
It's not
cost him another earned run. See, as a ex-pitcher, I'm looking at earned runs. You gave me 4 earned runs, and easily could have been 2 or 3. Who knows? 12 more pitches. Who knows if I could have gone to the 7th inning even?
I mean, I appreciate Buster saying I need a bat and let the chips on defense fall as they may, but who's their late inning replacement at first? What are they going to do?
Well, that's kind of what I said out there. That's kind of what I said in the beginning, because you got Casey Schmidt going back out there, and let Casey DH. He's hitting the hell out of the ball. I don't know if you really want to change it. And if that's what you have to keep Devers at first base, man, I don't want to say Chapman was upset, but when you look at the expressions that he has, you could tell he was upset, but he didn't want to say anything or do anything, because both those balls, the one he picked, he could have picked that one on Chapman. He could have made that double play ball. Those are 2 balls at the big leagues that any first baseman has to have.
Chapman's the voice in the clubhouse. I think it's going to be a while till Schmidt's at first base. Let me ask you something here, and then I'll let you go. You know, ball players today they're vetted out in the minor leagues. Scouts scour their abilities, and they make it to the majors. They take care of themselves, take care of nutrition. They know their job. They know their skill. Does it really matter about a manager on a baseball club? Like, is there a feeling out process with Tony and the players? Hey, this guy's never managed.
I think what they're trying to find out is, I think the communication is what they're trying to find out of him. I really believe they like him. I do. It's just now getting them over the hump and winning games and making good moves, making good observations. He's writing things down on a chart. I really would like to know what he's writing during a game. I've never seen a manager.
He does a lot of scribing. That's true. He does a lot of writing.
And maybe maybe that's something that he's learning to do to understand the game more. I see more coaches are starting to come down to him, which I was hoping to see. I'd love to see Ron Washington sit next to him. I would love to see Ron Woda sit next to him when he comes home in Oracle. I think those are the voices you need to have him sit next to. Those are your experienced coaches. Those are the guys that can tell you, this is what's coming down the road. These are 2 or 3 things before you. You have to think that way if you're going to be a successful manager.
I'll let you go with this fact, Bill. Mike Trout, 1 more home run than the Giants team as a total.
Boy, you're really
one less.
at me today.
Hey, I got to come out strong before your last call, right?
You did.
Hey, Bill,
You did good, Steve. You did good on a Friday night. Thanks so much, buddy. Yeah, it's great talking to you. I'll talk to you more as the season gets going, buddy. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Bring my buddy on, Dave Tolner from the SF Gate. We're going to talk more Giants baseball right here on Sports Phone KNBR.
This is Sports Phone KNBR. Dial the digits or send us a text at 415-808-KNBR. We're streaming on YouTube all damn day at KNBR 1045.
All right, back on Sports Phone KNBR with Bill Lasky. And Giants win the first game of a 3-game series against the Washington Nationals. I'll be doing the extra inning post-game show tomorrow and Saturday. Tomorrow, got a great interview with Caleb Killian. Of course, he pitched a nice inning today. Got to talk to him yesterday in Cincinnati, a real nice interview. And then on Sunday, I caught up with one of the best pitchers the Montreal Expos, now the Washington Nationals, ever had, and that's Steve Rogers. Just a fantastic career as a right-handed pitcher. 13 years he played only for the Montreal Expos, and just some fantastic numbers when you look at what he's done. 37 shutouts in his career, 129 complete games. Just a nice two-part interview with Steve Rogers on Sunday. All right, let's bring in my guest today. Of course, you can read his work at SF Gate. Let's bring in Dave Tolner. Dave, how are you this evening?
Good to be talking to you after a win, Bill. It's a nice change of pace.
Dave, we always throw that at each other when you come on.
Yes.
Most of the time, the Friday nights haven't been all good, have they, Dave?
Oh, I think they missed the playoffs last year because of us, honestly, with all the losses we put up together. But maybe this is the year we turn it around.
Well, I'm sure, Dave, you know the numbers. I said them in the beginning of the show. The first 19 games, they hit 9 home runs. They hit 3 tonight. Hits 151 going in the first 19 games. They had 15 today. 158 runs on the young season. They had 10 today. These are the numbers you and I were expecting, along with so many Giants fans. And today, we finally saw the production.
Yeah, this is what you like you said, you expected it. This lineup on paper is a good lineup, and they were just hitting the skids so hard the first couple of weeks. So it was nice to see them break out. I think yesterday's game maybe was just kind of what they needed to get back in the headspace of competing. It took a lot of guts yesterday, and it's nice to see them kind of take that momentum into Washington. And it's really a series that they should take. It'd be nice to get a sweep and actually get a winning road trip out of this, but it was nice to see them build on that momentum from yesterday.
Well, I want to bring up a point because I'm following NBC Bay Area as well as KNBR doing some post-game notes, and I saw something kind of disturbing, but then I kind of looked into it, and let me bring this up to you. Logan Webb, he states, "I feel like at this point I'm just kind of hurting the team every time I start. To be honest, lucky we scored 10 runs. I'm just trying to figure it out." And I bring this up because I started looking at all his starts. The Yankees, he went 5 innings, gave up 6 earned runs. He went against San Diego, 6 innings, 3 earned runs. And then he battled against the Mets where he went 7 innings, gave up 1 earned run, but that game was really a tough outing for him. He goes to Baltimore, 6 innings, 4 earned runs, and today, 6 innings, 4 earned runs. Is it true what he's saying, Dave?
For his standards, maybe. I mean, Webb is he's the leader of the rotation. He's the Giants' ace, and I think he holds himself to a higher standard. And I think we've seen a higher standard from him. But I was thinking the same thing. I was looking at his line just before I came on with you, and 6 innings, 4 runs. I mean, you'll take that every time out with a real offense behind you. And it's Webb has had so many outings where he's had no offense, and he's kind of the new Matt Cain in that sense, that he doesn't get the run support that he should. And he's due for a couple of games like this. He's due for the offense to pick him up. And he hasn't been terrible by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, he's been he's still going to go out and get you 200 innings, and that's an invaluable thing to have. But it's not up to his usual standards, but I don't think that there's cause for too much concern. I mean, he's battling, and he's keeping them in games, and he's, for the most part, except the Yankee game was a tough one, but he's given them chances to win, and that's really all you can ask for. He might be expecting more just because he's the number 1 starter, but when you look at his overall numbers this year, they're not terrible, and even despite what he thinks. But I mean, you probably wouldn't expect to hear anything less from him. He probably expects a top tier performance every time out there, but his performance really hasn't been all that bad.
So Dave, here's the $1 million question for you tonight. The World Baseball Tournament threw 2 gems. You think he pushed himself a little bit too early?
Oh, I that was my concern, Bill, when he was put on that team. I think we actually talked about it. It's not, you can say, well, he's going to get those innings in spring anyway, but it's a different type of inning. There's much more at stake. There's much more pressure. Whereas a spring training game, if you're out there just working on things in the World Baseball Classic, you can't really go out there and work on things. You just have to kind of bring your best game. So, it's definitely something that I've thought of. I don't think he'll ever use that excuse, but, it's high stress innings on his arm that he wouldn't normally had. And, maybe it's just going to take some time to kind of bounce back from that. It's probably a good thing that the Giants have so many off days so early. It might give him some time to kind of get his stuff back. But yeah, I think it's a fair question to ask. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's been, Jose Budo also, injury from his arm, a blood clot, and you just don't know if it's, premature because you're throwing a lot harder and it's sooner. Because, Logan Webb said, hey, I started working out a little sooner than I normally do. But you can only you can only throw on the side. You can only throw live BP. It's not game action. And now you're on the stage with USA across your chest. You're going to bust your tail to do as much as you can. You're going to overextend that slider. You're going to overextend that sinker. And sometimes that might wear on your arm too soon. I pitched through spring training, and there are adjustments. Sometimes you get a dead arm. Sometimes you just don't understand why the ball's not breaking. He was sharp in both those games for USA. And then you start looking at some of these games, he hasn't been sharp. Today there was times, but the other thing that you didn't really talk about is his defense behind him. And he hasn't had that pristine defense when he's been throwing out there. There's been a lot of double play balls that have not been double plays, but they should be. There's been a lot of ground balls that have been missed. There's been some balls in the outfield that I feel could have been caught. Maybe that's kind of where he's looking at numbers. But you and I are analyzing these games. I think the defense has let him down a lot.
Well, today was a perfect example of that. He got the ground ball, and it was a tailor-made double play, and Devers just couldn't make the catch at first base. And the run scored, and it's a fielder's choice, so that's an earned run that Webb probably, you'd love to call that an E3, but you can't,
right.
It should be. So, you really should have only given up 3 earned runs, and I don't remember how many pitches he threw after that, but it was another high stress
12
inning.
12.
It was 12 more pitches.
Yeah, another 12
and they weren't
pitches
easy
after
pitches.
that.
Yeah, so
and when you look at that
man.
inning, Dave, I'm sorry to interrupt you. The inning before that, when he had bases, when he got in a jam, he threw 32 pitches in the third inning and then 24 in the fourth. So he threw 56 pitches in just 2 innings. And that kind of just, you could see him upset. You knew he was, throwing a lot of pitches. But I still think that gets him off his normal routine.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's, you like you said, you get the ground ball, you get the double play ball that you're working for, and then it wasn't even a very tough play. And no offense to Devers, but the throw wasn't perfect, but a first baseman has to make that catch. There's just no excuse for that. You've got to come down with that ball, and that can kind of throw a guy off a little bit. And through 12 more high stress pitches, with runners on, and you're trying to keep him out of a big inning. Because the ball was flying tonight. So, was it Abrams that came up after that? And it was
he walked Garcia. He walked Luis Garcia, and then he got the ground ball that Chapman had a great play on to get Abrams out. But, there's been some times, I look at Arise at second base, just has been playing lights out at second base. 2 nice plays going to his left that he had to turn and make plays on. That's kind of the expectations I'm seeing out of this infield, and it seems at times they're just not crisp when he's on the mound.
Yeah, and boy, Arise has really proven me wrong, because I didn't think he came in with the reputation of being a little bit of a butcher out there, and he doesn't have the best lateral movement at second base, but anything that's hit to him he can get. So. Jeff Kent wasn't the best defensive second baseman either, but he made the plays, and that's kind of what you want on your second baseman. But you're right. It's not a crispness. The defense just really, I thought the defense was going to be a lot better this year, and it just hasn't.
Too.
And it seems like it really shows when Webb is on the mound. Just everything goes against him.
So, Dave, do you throw Casey Schmidt back out there, Dave? Would you throw him back out there and put Devers back in the DH role, or are you just going to say, hey, I gotta live with Devers at first base?
I think at this point you got to live with Devers at first base. I mean, no offense to Casey Schmidt, but he's not. I don't know if he's much better as far as being able to play first base. And everybody thinks first base is an easy position to play. You just stand there and catch it, but it really isn't. You know, there's nuances to it, and you know, it takes a lot of skill to dig balls out and to get the balls that otherwise, you know, would skip all the way, you know, to the track there. So it's, you know, I think their best first baseman is probably in AAA right now, but until they bring him up, I think they'll stick with Devers. And Devers seems to prefer playing the field anyway, as far as, you know, his preference as to how it makes him a better hitter. I don't think he's a big fan of DHing. So as long as they can get both of their bats in there right now, Schmidt and Devers, and, you know, Devers will come around and he'll get his numbers. But I think you just have to stick with Devers for now.
Dave Tolner joining me on Sports Phone KNBR on a Friday night. You can read his work at SF Gate. Changing the subject, let's talk about Elliot Ramos. Boy, when he rounded second base, beating his chest like Tarzan, it looked like the pressure was off of him, finally getting his first home run. I'm sure you saw it on NBC Bay Area. He just said, the first one, it's always the toughest. And I think that made him relax a little bit. A nice at-bat in the ninth inning to take the walk for an RBI. Most of the time, he's swinging at a lot of those pitches. Yeah, and, you know, I made a point on Twitter saying that he had some really nice swings tonight, not just on the home run, but even, you know, I think he was 1 for 4 tonight, but he had some really nice swings on a couple of flyouts, and he looked like he was seeing the ball a lot better. He looked like he had a lot more confidence, and that was a great at-bat in the ninth. That was just a clutch walk, and you know, he did his walk bat flip that he's known for now. So he was feeling himself a little bit, which is nice to see, because he's a big part of it. You know, and he was losing some playing time, and you know, the options the Giants have behind him aren't as talented as Ramos is. So it's nice to see him kind of have a game like that and get some more confidence, and hopefully bring that into the next few games, because they need him. You know, they really need Ramos to be Ramos if they're going to get back into contention here. Dave, do you think Tony Vitello is starting to figure out the bullpen? I believe he is. I think he's starting to find the leverage guys. I think he's starting to find the guys who can go if they're behind a little bit more, you know, comfortable, you know, more or less moves he's making. Do you see the same thing I'm watching? Yeah, you know, we talked about that right before the season, how it was tough to go into a season without having guys in clearly defined roles in the bullpen. And it seems like over the last few weeks, he's really gotten into a groove as to who he's bringing in when. Guys seem to be settling in. You know, if the bullpen was such a question, because it was just all, for the most part, it was unknowns, and they didn't spend any money on it. So, you know, everything was up for grabs, and guys have really stepped up. You know, you're going to interview Killian tomorrow, and he looked good tonight. You know, Gage gave up the run, but he's been, for the most part, he's been good. Walker had a nice inning yesterday, and we all saw Eric Miller at the end of the game yesterday. So, guys, yeah, that was pretty fun. But guys seem to be intense. I like it. It was intense. Like that. I really did. I really liked it, and yeah, I really believe so, Dave. And I said this earlier in the show. It just didn't stop in the dugout or in the clubhouse. That maneuvered right on that airplane, and there was a lot of guys talking about it. I've been on airplanes like that, and people are just psyched. They're excited, and they're like, hey, I'm following up. I'm doing this. Don't worry about it. You know, I got you. That's what makes that team gel. Maybe that's what needs some excitement. You know, maybe a brawl. We've always said it. A brawl always makes a team want to fight more. You know, but you don't really need a brawl. You need something like that, where a guy gets hit, I'm hitting you, you're hitting me. I mean, Landon Roop, you know, I loved what he said on the sinker. Oh, yeah, I got away from me. That's the professional way to do it. But there was no question. Right. First at bat, he sees him, boom, right in the leg. And they're doing it the right way. They're not headhunting. And that's why as an ex-pitcher, you never headhunt. You do it a proper way to make a point. Now, of course, all the young pitchers that are listening, there has to be a point to do that. It's not you do it in Little League and high school and college. There's a point of the big league season where things happen where you have to protect your teammates. And I'm sure
Right.
that's what Landon Roop did for JT Brubaker.
That's what I thought too. And as soon as he hit him, I said on Twitter, I said it's a good day for a brawl, because with Tito Francona in the other dugout, he's an old school guy, and you knew he was going to hit somebody. And I think they even said on the Reds broadcast that Adames should probably strap on all his armor, because he was going to face it. And they hit him, and they didn't headhunt him. They threw behind him or whatever it was, and then they nailed him. And that kind of thing can bring a team together, and that kind of thing can rally a team, like you said. And it wakes everybody up. And the Giants have been in such a lull. I mean, it wasn't an exciting team to watch. They were boring. They weren't hitting. They weren't doing anything. Now all of a sudden they get a little life. We almost had a brawl. They stick up for each other. That's the kind of thing that builds a team.
And look at the energy.
And
look at the energy today.
Yeah.
The energy today was totally different than what we saw.
Right. They showed a lot of guts yesterday. And Vitello, I don't know if that came from Vitello. I don't know if Roop did it on his own. Whatever happened, it showed a lot of guts, and it showed a lot that they're a team. And it was exciting. It was the first excitement that the Giants have really showed this season. And it was nice that they carried it over today. I was hoping that they would. And, boom, 6-0. That you just can't ask for anything more than that. So hopefully it's something that they can build on.
Dave Tolner joining me for a couple more minutes on Sports Phone KNBR on a Friday. Looking at just some basic numbers, the Giants are 5-5 on the road and 3-7 at home. And looking, 2 more games in Washington, just like you said earlier, if they can win them both and come back with a 5-4 record and win a series before you get into this Dodger-Marlin homestand, this is going to be a big test for them coming home.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get these 2 wins and have a little momentum against LA, because it's all, you always want to show up against the Dodgers, not only because they're the defending champs, but it's because it's the Dodgers. It's Giants Dodgers, and it's always it's always a little more to those games. So it'd be nice to have a little bit of a hot streak coming home, and this new energy that they have. It would be nice if they could continue that. So the next 2 games are pretty big, and it'd be nice to, if they win 2, what does that make? Does that make them 10-12? Right, hovering around 500 and kind of right in that wild card race.
Yeah, and you come home with a nice 4-game win streak. I think that's the other thing, coming off of a nice 9 road trip, and if you come home 5-4, it would be great to see this. And they can do it. The pitching that the Nationals have in the next 2 days as starters have been struggling. And if they can do what they did today, get it started and get the line moving and continue to build off of it, that was one thing that I liked about it, Dave. They had a couple innings where, they're going, okay, Susek gets a double, they didn't hit. But the home run in the 7th inning by Schmidt kind of added on. And in that 9th inning, they didn't give up, and they continued to get on base, couple nice base hits. And that's the sign of a good team, when you're hitting from 1 through the 9th inning.
Yeah, and it's. I think everybody in the lineup had at least a hit tonight, and that's that, like you said, that's kind of what we expected right before the season started. Because on paper, this lineup is good, and they have a lot of notoriously slow starters, and guys tend to heat up a little bit when May rolls around. So it was very worrisome how they looked, because they just didn't look like they had any life. It'd be one thing if they were losing and fighting, but they just didn't look like they had any fight in them. And then yesterday, everything just kind of clicked. So it'd be nice to see them, like you said, take these 2 games, at least win the series. It would be nice to take these 2 games, have a winning road trip, come home, and then get ready for LA.
Well, Dave, we'll have to plan it so when they win on a Friday night, I'll bring you on. We'll continue to be positive, because you and I have had too many negative post-game shows. But
Way
again,
too
Dave,
many.
thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Bill. Anytime. Talk to you soon.
That was Dave Tolner. You can read his work at SF Gate. Does a great job writing a lot of great sports articles, especially with the Giants. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Mark Zuckerman, he's a writer for the Nats Journal, is going to join me next as we talk Washington Nationals and get a little bit more in depth on what this team is and what they have. And boy, oh boy, you're going to understand how many prospects on this national team. All right, I'm Bill Lasky. We'll be right back with more right here on KNBR.
The nighttime is the right time for Sports Phone KNBR. Let's go on the sports leader. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
Welcome back to Sports Phone KNBR with Bill Lasky. My guest is a Baseball Writers Association of America writer. A fantastic opportunity for him to vote for the Major League Hall of Fame. He also covers the Washington Nationals. Let's bring in Mark Zuckerman. Mark, how are you today?
I'm doing fine, Bill. Thank you.
Well, let's go back last year when the Nationals got rid of Mike Rizzo and Dave Martinez, and changes started right then and there. Tell me a little bit about what happened last year.
Well, pretty much anything that could go wrong did go wrong for them. You know, they went into the year with some expectations of having success for the first time in a while. They started a rebuild in 2021, going into 2020. Prior to that, they tore it down. They went young, and the idea going into the last season was that we were going to start to see them reaping the benefits of it with their young talent they had. They get halfway through the season, and it just isn't happening. And so ownership made a decision that I'm not sure people, thought they were prepared to do, and that was to clean house entirely. Mike Rizzo had been the GM for 17 years. Davey Martinez had been the manager since 2018, the longest tenured manager in the team's relatively short history, and decided we're going to start all over again. And so it was made for an incredibly frustrating year. But once they got through it and then started over this winter with a brand new head of baseball operations, Paul Taboni, he's 35 years old, came from the Red Sox. A new manager, Blake Butera, is 33 years old, came from the Tampa Bay Rays. And they've just brought a whole new perspective and youthful energy and just much more analytically approached, forward-thinking mindset to the organization. And so far, it's early, but so far the reviews have been very positive, and I think people feel like they are finally on the right track again.
Mark, when you're talking young 33-year-old Blake Butera, the youngest of 9 new managers in Major League Baseball, and when you look at this roster, 13 players, and not one guy is over 28 years old, and most of them are under 25, as you say. What is the leadership in this league with such a youthful movement?
Yeah, coming in because we thought, oh, well, you got to go out and sign somebody, a position player in particular, who's been there, done that, and they elected not to do that. So far, it hasn't been an issue. I was a little concerned it might be. You do have young players, but they've been around for a few years now. So like Luis Garcia, he was a second baseman, he's playing first base now. He's only 25, but he debuted in 2020, so he's actually been up for a while now. C.J. Abrams, the shortstop, who's off to a great start. Again, very young, but has been here now since late in the 2021 season. James Wood, very young, has been here for a couple of years. They're sort of taking upon themselves to be the leaders and show the rest of the guys how to do it and kind of learn together. Butera, very young himself, but his background was in player development with the Rays. So he has dealt with young guys throughout his minor league managing and player development career. And so while he does step in when he needs to, he really does believe it's important for the players themselves to police themselves. And again, we're only a few weeks into it, but so far there's been accountability. There's been a very good, positive feeling. They're working harder, getting out there in the fields earlier than we've seen in the past. If they lose a game, they're bouncing right back and playing well the next day. So far, so good on that. But I've been curious all along to see what happens when they do go through a losing streak, who steps up, how do they handle that kind of thing, because we just haven't seen it before and they don't have a lot of experience in that regard.
That voice you hear on Sports Phone KNBR is Mark Zuckerman, who covers the Washington Nationals on Nats Journal. One big thing, Mark, the Giants came after C.J. Abrams this past winter, thinking that he could possibly fill in the second base role. No negotiations came through, but boy, there was a lot of talk about that. Was there any inclination when you talked to CJ about getting traded?
Yeah, he knew that the rumors were out there and tried to block it out. He's been traded before. He was with the Padres and then was part of the big Juan Soto trade here. So I think having been through it before maybe helped him not get too consumed with it and just focus on what he needed to do. Paul Taboni, the new president of baseball operations, also has been very upfront with him and keeping him, just abreast along the way if there was anything worth letting him know, if there was any movement. And I think really the way that they approached it was he's got 3 years of club control. They're not obligated to do anything now. But the fact that he is a really good young infielder, was an all-star 2 years ago, could have been one last year. There are going to be teams that are interested. And if the Nats are thinking more long-term than that, beyond the next 3 years, then they should at least listen to what the offers are. Now, they didn't get an offer that they liked. And so they said, hey, you're our guy. Don't worry about any of that. Go out and play now. He's off to a fantastic start to the season. I think as we approach July, it's going to come up again, and there's going to be a decision that has to be made. Is it time to move him, or do they maybe think he could actually be a part of this thing in the long run? But I give CJ a lot of credit. He's blocked it all out. He's playing incredibly well, some of the best baseball we've seen from him in his career so far.
He sure is. In that Pittsburgh series, the 4-game series, 6 for 9, hitting over 370. He's got power numbers this year, 6 home runs and 19 RBIs. Do you see anything different from him at the plate?
Yeah, it's more plate discipline. He's always been a free swinger, and even at his best, he would often put the first pitch in play, and susceptible to breaking balls and changeups out of the zone. He's been much better at just staying disciplined and saying, I'm going to look for a fastball over the plate, and if I get it, I'm going to swing at it. If I don't, I'm going to take it. So be it. If he gets to the point that it's 2 strikes, different story. But he's really working the count more, taking that mindset. It's also interesting that he mostly was their leadoff hitter the last few years under Davey Martinez. They have him now batting like 5th or 6th most nights. And maybe that has freed him up a little bit, not having to think like a leadoff hitter, go out there and drive in runs. I'll be curious if they change anything because he's been so productive. You'd like to get him higher up in the lineup, but it's also like, hey, he's doing well. Let's not mess with a good thing right now. So I'll be curious how that goes as they move forward.
Well, Mark, let's talk about this new leadoff hitter, James Wood. Boy, that catches my eye every time he comes up to the plate. 23 years old, and he started off very well. 5 home runs, 15 RBIs, a few stolen bases, a premier left fielder, 6'6", 235. He is epitome of a pitcher looking at a top hitter. And, man, it's going to be a tough battle this weekend.
Yeah, and what you have to know, you said he's off to a great start. He actually was really not good at all that first week of the season. He had a bad spring. He had a bad second half last year, a bad spring, and then his first week he's striking out a ton. And there were like actual questions being asked of, do they need to consider sending him down to AAA like they did with Dylan Cruz, one of their other top young players? Well, they stuck with him, and obviously it's worked out because he's been thrown on a tear ever since. He hits the ball as hard as anybody in the game. His natural swing as a left-handed hitter is actually to go to the opposite field. A majority of his home runs are to left center field, and he can do it because he has the power to do that. He's also really patient and takes his walks. Yes, he strikes out a lot. He led the majors in strikeouts last year, but in the last couple weeks, he's cut down on that. They have him hitting leadoff because their philosophy is if he's our best hitter, we want him to get the most at-bats of anybody. And so maybe that's denying him some RBI opportunities, but he is a real force and presence at the top of the lineup. And, along with Abrams, kind of the 2 young faces of the franchise. He's local. He grew up here in Maryland, nearby, really becoming a fan favorite.
Mark Zuckerman joined me on the Sports Phone. KNBR covers the Washington Nationals. A young player we haven't even talked about is Brady House, 22-year-old third baseman, getting an opportunity to play every day. What have you seen out of him so far in this young season?
So he was another one of their first-round picks in 2021. He debuted last summer, and to be honest, it was kind of underwhelming how he did. Defensively, was very good at third base. Offensively, just swung at everything, and pitchers picked up on that, and they were getting him to chase out of the zone. And there just wasn't the power they had seen in the minor leagues coming up. New approach again this year. You're going to hear a common theme here. They're really focusing with him on laying off pitches that don't look like they're good ones to hit, and he's done a great job of that so far. And he's cooled off in the last week or so after a really hot start, but he is showing that power. More selective at the plate, a really good defensive third baseman. With all these guys, they called them up very young, and it was on a team that wasn't winning. And I can only imagine, and you have your manager fired in the middle of the season, the GM fired. I can only imagine how difficult it was for a lot of them to get through that season last year, especially somebody who's in the big leagues for the first time. I think for him and others, just coming into camp this year with a new manager, new coaching staff, new front office, kind of just relax, go do your thing, take a good approach at the plate, and you're starting to see the rewards of that.
Mark, we talked a little bit about Blake Buter in the beginning of this conversation, but one thing I've noticed out of him being a young manager, he uses all 13 roster spots. Every time I look into box score, everybody's playing. He's using guys to pinch run, pinch hit, defensive replacements. Is this something that he's gravitating to use his whole roster?
Yes, it's a big part of what he believes in. And I said he came up with the Rays as a minor league manager and then player development chief. Think about how the Rays construct their roster and how they use them. It's a different lineup every day. It's playing the matchups above all else. They platoon at several positions, including at first base. They don't have a traditional big thumper at first base. It's Luis Garcia is the left-handed hitter. Curtis Mead is the right-handed hitter. Whoever starts the game, there's a good chance they're going to get replaced along the way to set up a better matchup against the reliever they're facing late in the game. He has pinch hit for his catcher 7 times in the last 11 games. And here's the good part. I mean, the negative part is because their catchers have not hit well. The good part of it is in those 7 pinch hit appearances, they're 4 for 7 with 3 doubles and 4 RBI. So it's working. He very much wants everyone to be involved. I think that's a good way to approach it when you maybe don't have the superstar players and they're all so young that it's not like anybody has the clout that they have to be in there every day. So far, everybody's bought into it, but he is very big into using everybody on the roster. And it applies to the pitching staff as well, because you'll see him use every reliever in any kind of situation, and it's not quite the same defined roles that you normally think of.
A few more minutes with Mark Zuckerman. Of course, he follows the Washington Nationals. Let's take a look at the probable pitchers for Saturday and Sunday. And Saturday, Cade Cavalli, a number 1 pick in 2020 by the Nationals, 27 years old. I think the biggest problem with him is strikes, making command, throwing the ball across the plate. Seems like he gets in trouble a lot with the ball 4.
That's been the issue this year. And what's surprising and disappointing is that when he came up last year, this is a guy who missed, 2 years, even more than 2 years, trying to come back from Tommy John surgery. He was going to be a big part of this a few years ago and unfortunately got hurt in spring training back in 2023. And he didn't really make it back until mid-season last year. Now, when he came up last year, he was a strike thrower.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden that hasn't happened. And I think there is some questioning there of like what happened. Where's the concern? Is he just nibbling? Is he trying too hard? Are there mechanical issues? I know he's really been working on it. His last start against the Pirates, they pulled him in the 2nd inning because it just wasn't happening. Now, what he's done, he's gotten into a lot of trouble and put a lot of traffic on the bases. For the most part, he's avoided big damage, but it's just been a lot of high-stress innings for him, and the pitch counts have gotten high, and he hasn't been able to go deep into games. Now, he was their opening day starter. Probably wasn't ready for that assignment yet, but given what they have, he made the most sense. They still believe in him. The stuff is really good. He's just got to find the confidence to throw strikes and believe that the stuff will be effective. And if he does that, I think there's still a lot of optimism for him.
Mark, Cade throws 6 different pitches. Looking at what I've seen, I mean, mainly a fastball sinker, of course, but a knuckle curve, and then he throws a changeup, a cutter, a slider. He really dominates when he gets the sinker over, a lot of ground ball outs. But as we keep coming back to, he gets behind hitters, so he really can't use all these pitches at different times of a count. What is his big issue? Is he just throwing too hard? Is he trying to pinch the corners? Why is he walking so many guys this year?
Yeah, I think they're trying to figure that out. I think they feel like there could be some mechanics things that are throwing that off a little bit. And, once you fall behind, now you're feeling the pressure and you got to be perfect and, et cetera, that all happens. He's got a good live fastball. It's in the upper 90s, but it doesn't move a lot, his 4-seamer. And so he does get into trouble, and maybe he worries about leaving that pitch over the plate. And so he's got to nibble more around the corners. His curveball is his big out pitch. And I know he'd love to be able to rely on that, but you got to get ahead in the count first before you can then use that as your put-away pitch. So I think that's the challenge that he's facing. I know in between the last start and this one, he's been working a lot in the bullpen with their pitching coaches to try to figure some things out. I think we all have to remind ourselves, yeah, he's 27, but he's still barely pitched in the big leagues. He's only made about 15 big league starts at this point. And so it is kind of a learning process for him. And they're going to stick with him. They know he's a big part of the future. and try to let him figure his way out of this.
Well, on Sunday, we're going to see the veteran. I guess he's the grandfather in the clubhouse. That's 37-year-old Miles Mikolas. Of course, he started his career with the Padres, went over to Texas, but mainly his last 7 years with the St. Louis Cardinals, a two-time National League All-Star. He has been struggling ever since he's put that Washington Nationals uniform on. His last start, they even brought him in relief, tried to change some of the things. What have you seen the troubles with Miles?
Yeah, so he was an early spring training signing.
Mm-hmm.
And they did that at a time when they really didn't know what they had pitching-wise, and they were kind of desperate for anybody with experience who could give them innings. And that was his track record. Even when he struggled in St. Louis, he was good for 170, 180 innings. So they signed him for $2.25 million. And they didn't know this was going to happen at the time, Zach Littell, a little more accomplished and a younger free agent, was still available late in spring training and signed with them for $7 million. And so all things considered, I think if they had known at the time they could have gotten Littell, they probably don't sign Mikolas, but they had him. They wanted to give him the chance to come out here and be a leader for the staff and eat up some innings for them, and the results just have not been good. And what you're seeing now, and last game was a good example of that, they're basically trying to minimize the amount of time that he's out there. They used a left-handed opener in front of him in Pittsburgh, only had him come in to pitch for like 3 innings, and then pulled him for a left-handed long reliever beyond that. I mean, that tells you what they really think. He's 37. He's obviously nearing the end of his career. They're going to try to squeeze what they can out of him, but I think he's somebody who at this point is kind of on a start-to-start basis or even a relief-to-relief appearance basis. If they feel like they've got a younger option that maybe has a brighter future with the team, eventually they're probably going to have to decide to make that move. For now, they're just hoping he can give them some innings and give them a chance to win.
Well, Mark, thank you for your time today. It's going to be a good weekend series. Both teams are struggling a little bit, but yet we're going to find out which team fathoms the issues of the batting averages, because all these batting averages on both sides are struggling. But we'll find out as the Giants and the Nationals face off this weekend.
You got it. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, Bill.
That was Mark Zuckerman on Sports Phone KNBR. More coming up right here on The Sports Leader.
Sports Phone KNBR keeps rolling live from the KNBR Casino Matrix Progressive Jackpot Studios. Casino Matrix Progressive Jackpots are here. Where are you? Just drop in. Please play responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
It was phenomenal, and I hate to sound too coachy, but his outs were the most well-hit outs and were the best swings on at-bats where it did not come with a positive outcome or he didn't get the carrot at the end of the deal. And then the home run, too, you know, you might predict the first home run, especially with the way he's been swinging it. Most hard-hit balls have been low to right field or like some doubles to left with a little bit of height. You'd predict maybe he drives the ball out over the left field fence. But dead center looked like the Ramos the Giants fans fell in love with. The Ramos who's fully capable of being the best hitter on any given day for our team. Again, the home run was exciting and encouraging, as you mentioned, and it's good to kind of get the first one out of the way. That means more will follow. But I really take from it, because it is a game of percentages and reps, those swings and earning that walk were the best he's maybe looked for a string of batting appearances in one day.
All right, back on Sports Phone KNBR on a Friday night. Tony Vitello talking about Elliot Ramos, as you could hear. The home run that was in the second inning was a 1-2 splitter that Zach Littell threw. Got it up, but, man, he didn't miss it. And just like Tony said, he made solid contact. It hit it 416 feet. Data away center field. That was a bomb. And then he started talking about the other outs. He hit a fly ball to the warning track in the third inning and right field, and then he hit two good balls out to center field in the fifth and then again in the seventh. And I think that's what Tony's looking at, is how Elliott is adjusting and how he's seeing the ball more in the zone and how he's getting his hands out, how he's starting to get the barrel of the bat. But to me, I just think he's seeing more strikes. He's always had that ambitious to try to hit the ball hard, but the ball seems like they're always a ball or out of the zone or below the zone or an elevated fastball. If he just calms down, as I said through the whole show, this whole team today seemed calm and relaxed rather than being so anxious and being so dramatic in their swings. You heard Tony Vitello say this a while back when they were down 5-0. You can't hit a home run and get 5 runs. And I think some of these at-bats that we're seeing now, they're capable of relaxing. They're capable of adjusting. I keep going about Willy Adames. The first week, Willy Adames was terrible. We were talking about him on the air all the time. What's going on, Willy Adames? He's one of the hottest hitters in baseball right now. When you look at what he did today, 2 for 5, and in the season, 3 home runs and 10 doubles. 10 doubles already. That's outstanding. When you're looking at 13 extra base hits, he's hitting 275, went 2 for 5 tonight. He was 3 for 12 in Baltimore, 3 for 11 in Cincy with a home run, 2 for 4 today. So, you know, not bad. Not bad for a road trip right now. 8 for 27, if I might be wrong there, but I know he's got 8 hits, and he's your leadoff hitter. I would love to see more of this top 3 hitters do a little more damage. We talk about extending the lineup. I think what's happening right now, the middle of the lineup with Casey Schmidt in the middle. Jung-Hoo Lee is making a big progress in putting the ball in play. Jung-Hoo Lee on this road trip, 4 for 12 in Baltimore, 6 for 11 in Cincinnati. That's 10 for 23. That's what we want to see out of Jung-Hoo Lee. And today, he gets a nice knock, 1 for 4, but he contributed. I want to see more balls to left field with Jung-Hoo Lee and more walks. I'd love to see this team take more walks. You just heard Mark Zuckerman talk about the pitcher tomorrow. And he walks a lot of guys. And this is one of the major problems with this young kid, Cade Cavalli. 13 walks already. 13 walks in 15 2/3 innings. This is where your hitting coach has to tell your hitters tomorrow, be patient. Don't push yourself. Wait for a good pitch. Because if he's behind so much, he's going to have to come in. And that's when you can ambush him. And I think that's what the Giants have to do with all these pitchers the Nationals throw out there. This is a ballpark. When you look at Nationals Park, this is a ballpark you want to hit in. This is definitely a hitter's ballpark. And this is where the Giants can get on fire. 15 hits today. 15 hits, 10 runs, 3 home runs. A nice way to start this 3-game road trip against the Washington Nationals. All right, tomorrow, Adrian Hauser takes the hill. Of course, he's pitched 3 times. This will be his 4th start. Started out in San Diego, throwing a 5 1/3 innings. Threw well, only gave up 1 earned run. Pitched against Philly, 6 innings, 9 hits, 4 earned runs. And his last start in Baltimore, he gave up a 2-run home run in the first inning to Samuel Basallo. And that happened after he had the first 2 guys out, and he walked Pete Alonso, and then Basallo hits a 1-1 fastball out of the yard. He's down 2-0. Comes back with a nice second inning, only throwing 12 pitches. Third inning starts really well, only threw 19 pitches. Had a nice run going. He was down 2-0, and Giants ended up scoring 1 run in the top of the 5th inning. And in the 5th inning, he gets the first 2 guys out, and he gives up a base hit to Gunnar Henderson. Gives up another base hit to Tyler Ward. Now, that ball was more of a bloop in the right field, but it's still a base hit. And what hurt him on an 0-2 pitch, Pete Alonso hit a ball down by his ankles, and he hooked it down the left field line for a double. And that chased him. So he had 2 outs. He just couldn't finish that inning. At that time, his pitch count was up. 88 pitches, 51 for strikes. The first inning was the big inning. He threw 25 pitches the first inning, 15 for strikes. So this is what he's going to have to do tomorrow. They're going to face a whole nother left-handed lineup. And I think what he saw today with Logan Webb, a lot of sinkers, a lot of changeups. Logan Webb today, 34 sinkers, 23 sweepers, 22 changeup. That's kind of what Logan Webb does in his 3-pitch mix. And I think that's what we might see out of Adrian Hauser tomorrow. Adrian was throwing the ball real hard. He got up to 98 miles an hour in that Baltimore game. Of course, fastball, sinker, curveball, changeup, slider. That's the mix he'll throw tomorrow. We don't know if Patrick Bailey will be behind the plate or Susak again. But tomorrow will be a good mix against him. He's faced 3 tough batting orders, San Diego, Philly, and Baltimore. So hopefully tomorrow he can change speeds a little bit and hopefully go through this Washington National order a little better than what he's done in the previous starts. And then on Sunday, Robbie Ray, who's been the most consistent starter for the San Francisco Giants this year, he's going to make his 5th start. His last 3 starts, he beat the Mets. He went 5 1/3, only giving up 2 earned runs in that game. Then he came back and shut out the Phillies. Really threw well in that game. 6 2/3 innings in that game, only giving up 3 hits, and he got the win. And then in Cincinnati, he really didn't pitch bad at all. He gave up 2 solo home runs, and they ended up getting a loss in that game. But what I liked about what I saw in that Cincinnati game was he used more pitches than just the fastball and slider. He always worked on the changeup. We heard about it. We worked on it. He did it in spring training. He also learned about it last year, trying to get it in his mix. That's the first game in 5 starts or 4 starts that he's been using a changeup. He was all fastball, slider heavy. So 26 changeups he threw in that Cincinnati game, and I thought that really worked well for him. 6 strikeouts in that 5-inning stint. He only gave up 2 hits, 2 solo home runs. As I say, he's been the most consistent when you look at going out there every game and keeping the team involved in trying to keep low scoring so the Giants could score. He goes in with a 2-2 record, a 2.4 earned run average, 22 1/3 innings, only giving up 13 hits. Really good numbers right there. 10 walks, 24 strikeouts. And the mix he's going to have, a lot of lefties in here, and he's going to have to take care of James Wood, C.J. Abrams, Dalen Lilly, 3 top young left-handed hitters in this national lineup. So it should go well. I mean, if the Giants can do what they did today and score plenty of runs for both these starters, you might see a sweep out of the Giants. Of course, that's what we all think. They got to go out and do it, and no question there. A 2-game winning streak. Of course, they shut out the Cincinnati Reds yesterday, 3-0 in Cincinnati. Landon Roop getting a win. Boy, he pitched really well yesterday. Walker, Wynn, and Miller followed him. Miller ended up getting the save today. Logan Webb again pitched today. He got the win. He went 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, threw 99 pitches. And really where he got hurt at in the 3rd and 4th inning, 3rd inning, 32 pitches, 21 for strikes. He followed up in the fourth inning with 24 more pitches, 16 for strikes. And, of course, the double play ball that Devers dropped and was called a fielder's choice. Double play to get out of that inning cost him 12 pitches. But he still got the win. And coming back behind him was Matt Gage, Caleb Killian, and Blade Tidwell. So a good game all around for the Giants as they get their 8th win with 12 losses. And tomorrow, right after, at 1:05 start. Tomorrow I'll be doing the extra inning post-game show. I had a nice conversation with the pitcher that pitched today, Caleb Killian. Of course, he started his career getting drafted by the San Francisco Giants. He got traded July 30th, 2021. He got traded for Chris Bryant along with Alexander Cannaro. And I talked about that to him. He was in Double-A Richmond. Great story. He tells the story he was supposed to go throw a bullpen. He was a starter back then. And he had a hell of a season going for Richmond at that time. When you look at the numbers, he was 3-2, 2.4 earned run average, 63 innings pitched. He was dialed in, really throwing the ball, 8 walks, 64 strikeouts, and he had got drafted out of Texas Tech. He was supposed to throw a bullpen. The manager called him in and said, hey, we're going to push it back a little bit. And he didn't know anything was going on, and sure enough, Farhan ended up getting Chris Bryant with like 3 minutes left to go in the trading period, and he was the one that they were trying to maneuver to get in. He went over to the Cubs. It just didn't work out for him with Chicago. Last year he was injured. They outrighted him and ended up he became a minor league free agent. And the Giants came knocking on the door, and he was so happy to come back to San Francisco. Great conversation with him. I caught up with him in Cincinnati the day after he pitched, which was on Wednesday. So a good conversation with him about what he's done to get ready to be a bullpen pitcher. He's not starting anymore. And then, how he's adjusting to now working with Tony Vitello and working in the bullpen. But a nice inning today by him. He went 1 inning with 1 walk and 2 strikeouts, only threw 18 pitches, 12 for strikes. And I think he's gotten a good position now where he can be a setup man. He can get in the middle of the innings, and a good role for him. And then on Sunday, I got to talk to a good friend of mine, Steve Rogers. And you may remember him with the Montreal Expos. 13 years he pitched with the Expos, and fabulous career. When you look at what he did, 158 wins, 129 complete games. It'll never happen again. 37 shutouts. And one of the big thing that we talked with Steve about was working with Gary Carter. Gary Carter was only 19 years old when he got called up to the big leagues, and Steve kind of took him under his wing, and he became his catcher. And a great, great conversation about pitching in certain situations, pitching with 4-pitch selection, and he made a couple all-star games. Of course, he's in the Canada Hall of Fame. He's in the Montreal Expo Hall of Fame, 5-time all-star. A great conversation, and what I love about when I talk to pitchers, it's a great way to earn and listen to how they went after hitters, how they achieved what they did in their 13-year career. So a great couple interviews coming up tomorrow and Sunday. I'll be right back on the Extra Inning post-game show. But we'll wrap up right now. The Giants win today, 10-5. They're now 8-12. 1:05 first pitch tomorrow right here on KNBR. Coming up next is the Dubs OT. That's when John Dickinson and Kyle Haar. For Bill Lasky, have a great rest of the night. Join me tomorrow on the Extra Inning post-game show. More coming up right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.